soon as this print came up, first of all, it was the expression. I loved the expression, I loved the smile. You can tell she's having a fantastic Christmas. For me, I would really appreciate a tight crop. I think the top right hand side is sort of taking away from what's happening, and maybe I would say, you know what? I'll take a little break and I'll come back to me and I'll say a little bit more.
If this was a portrait of my mom or my grandmother, I'm getting to that age, or me, similar hair, I would definitely love it. It would be very special. In terms of print competition, there are a few things that we can definitely work on. The upper right of the corner is really distracting from the rest of the image. Just cropping that down to a little bit more of a vertical, or moving the subject to her right, camera left, would help alleviate that, because you have some really bright hot spots in there. So you have this low-key dark tree, the wall is on the lower key side, and then you have these bright white spots coming from that upper corner, which are just making you go from here to here to here, which is you don't want to happen. Also, I think, why is it me? For me, a wider aperture here would go a really long way, bringing the subject away from the background. You can do a very similar pose, but walking her 5 or 6 feet away from the wall, and really pulling that tree out of focus and making everything really soft, and maybe pulling some more bokeh out of those lights. It wouldn't be competing with the subject as much. So I like the way her feet are posed, her hands look pretty. There's just a couple of distracting elements for me to have this in print competition, but it is a very sellable print that a client will love.
I completely concur with Michelle and Juggy. The expression that this lady has is warm, and as I said, if this was my mum, I'd be hanging it on the wall. For me, there's some issue with colour balance. There's some blue magenta on the lower right, on the lower side. Just a little bit of warmth, a little bit just adjust the temperature in Lightroom, and that's going to elevate this image, the score category for me. There's also, I appreciate the author has kept the brightest part of the image to be the lady's face, but there seems to be some dodging and burning amongst the red bows, which is, again, like the previous images, just bordering on distracting. I'm noticing it more and more every time I look. If you can see the image closely, you've got some burnt out issues. Sorry, Chinese going to squeeze around here. Someone's burnt in from here and here, but missed a bit here. Someone's burnt in here, but missed a bit here. So again, I'm just looking at the hot spots now, which is a real shame, because the expression here is beautiful.
It's probably all been said. I agree with the bokeh. I think changing the aperture, getting a shallow depth of field, pushing that background back, because it is quite distracting and it's drawing our attention. Sometimes the choice of location can be something to consider, because those red bows are very, very strong. But the underwriting statement to that is it could be that it's about celebrating Christmas, so we need to take that into account. I think the hands, while I agree with Michelle that they are quite pretty in the way they're set, I think there's a little bit could be done with them, because she just looks a little bit flat and staid. I'd even like to see, just with her legs, just bringing up one leg a bit more. She's still very flat-footed and stuck, and just lift her up a bit, give her a little bit more grace, raise her fingers that are on the wall so it's not just flat on the wall, even cock the wrist a little bit on her hip, turn her head. So just playing around with the little delicate things to complement that beautiful face and that beautiful expression. You know, beautiful hairstyle. She's dressed in a way that isn't loud, but it fits in. And I think when you apply Scott's sound advice on colour balance, because it is a bit cold, it looks a little bit, almost a lot of the image feels a little flat and heavy. Just lift it up and match that expression and that emotion in her face with the way you present the print.
Just reflecting on what Scott said regarding the magenta toes in the bottom, and just on top of I'll say on the wall, you see a lot of blue cast, and you can tell this lovely lady, she loves her jewelry, so maybe just taking such a large surface area, we can maybe she can interact with that, or hold on to a bracelet, and just as Scott also mentioned, just the hot spots and having a lower aperture would have really elevated this image.
Great. So can we all agree that this is in the mid-70s range?
I would be like in about 72.
Okay, so
Yeah,
a little
I'd be
bit
in
of
the
work,
lowers, yeah.
little bit of work to be done to bring that up to professional practice.
I also sometimes find that when dodging is done, but then the tone of the color is not corrected. So when we dodge, things tend to go like grayish, brownish, black, depending on what's behind in that image. And when you dodge, just go back and correct the color. I mean, it's just a brush with a different blending mode, and just pick up the original color in the object that you're dodging and go over it so that the color matches. Part of what looks bad in dodging sometimes is not just that it's darker, but the color is different. Like that dodging goes very blue in the red. So just correct that. It's really easy to do.
Just on that, if you're using Photoshop or a blending mode, remember that if you're applying masks in a normal blending mode, you're going to be shifting color, and the more you shift the tone, the more you change the color a little bit. So you can just do simple things like blending on luminosity, so you don't use the color information. I'm going to ask Sarah to add a comment here because this is right up her alley, and she's the expert.
I was just about to say exactly that. So if you are going to burn down an image, then use a curve. Don't use the dodging and burning tools on a pixel layer, because that will introduce color issues, and then you have to, there's a desaturate sponge that is there to counteract that, but that's just too complicated. So use a curve, just bring down the belly of the curve or bring up the belly of the curve, and then switch on to luminosity mode and see if that removes those color shifts. I was going to say exactly that. Great. Next print.